First of all, let me thank you, Bill, for coming. Let me quickly introduce all three of you. Bill is the CIO of King County, which is where I live. And he is not just an ordinary CIO of an ordinary county, by the way. He is voted one of the best non-profit CIOs in the nation. Think about that. He's here, right, with us, right? Physically present.
Don't be too impressed.
Okay. And he is the guy who has, over the past few years, steered a Titanic with popsicle sticks and succeeded. You know what I mean? Organizations that, like a county, are big, really big, and also they have history, they have legacy, they have old things, they have new things, they have people of all age groups, all levels of experience. And that's what I call, not the word Titanic just about the size, it's big. And the tools that people have are popsicle sticks. And to be able to pull such a thing off is only a magical person with superpowers can do. That's what this guy is. Realize it. It's no kidding. And look him up. And I have already emailed you about him, about the fact that he's what he is. And I am honored to have him here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So thanks for having me down. I really appreciate it. We were looking forward to this all the way down. I bring you greetings from Executive Constantine in King County. Sends his greetings your way. I mentioned that I was coming down here, our executive leadership team this week, and everyone was excited. I want to tell you that we are looking for new avenues of recruitment in King County, so be very open if local government is your choice. We really want to hear from you and be able to provide some information on hiring the nation's best, right? And that's what you all are. I heard it's tough to get into this class. If you can get into this class, you can probably get a job anywhere, right? Rigorous training. So I want this to be an open dialogue, so I'm probably going to ask a lot of questions today. I don't want to be a talking head up here. I do have some slides to kind of get the dialogue generated, but first thing I want to know from you all is, what are some things you want to hear from us today? Because Nicole and Patty will also participate in their open game, by the way. We have a program in King County. We call it the HERO program. I'm hearing that our vets don't like that name. That's the feedback we're getting. But I'm going to tell you what it is. It's the HERO program, and where we hire folks like yourself that are transitioning out. It's very active, and we have had folks that went through that program that became permanent. So it's a good program. And I think King County has really embraced hiring veterans, those folks that are transitioning. It's a value that we have, and we recognize that you're very talented and smart, and you have a lot of great things that you've done in your careers in the military, and that transitions very well to civilian life and civilian jobs. So we recognize that, and we want to take advantage of that because we have 43% of our workforce potentially leaving in the next 5 years. The average age of an employee in King County is 54 years old. So we have a whole new workforce coming in the next 5 years. So a huge opportunity, and we're only one of many governments, right? States going to be suffering from the same thing, other local governments, city governments. We're losing those folks that have been with us that have immense knowledge, and they're walking out the door, and they're retired. So it's a great opportunity to get in and start to do things on the ground floor in new ways, right? Some of those folks have been doing things the same way, and we need some fresh ideas. We need ideas on how to do things better, more efficiently, that make better use of the taxpayer's dollar. Say, well, that person left, so here's the 20-year-old job description, and we're just going to submit that because that's the easiest thing to do. So what I've done in my organization is any job that becomes open is my job. And we, every Monday, we look at the open positions. They go into a pool because I may decide to use that position for something else based on a priority of the organization. And we might redo the job description because of that. So my management team weighs in on priorities and where we have needs, and that position might land somewhere totally different. We may downgrade it to a journey from a senior, so we can open it up to different job opportunities. So we've really done a lot of work in our organization to broaden our candidates and not get so focused on just the same position every time. I look at an opening as a golden opportunity that either we take advantage of and it helps us, or we mess it up and we have to live with the results for a long time. All right? And so there's a value that we have in our organization called hiring well. Everyone knows it. They can't take shortcuts. It's not about putting people in chairs. It's putting the right people into the organization. So that's the other thing is when you're looking at an organization, what I always ask candidates in the interviews is, what is your ideal working environment and why? That's a standard question that I ask. So how would you answer that? What's your ideal working environment and why? That's another thing you got to prep for is interview questions. They're all over the map sometimes, everything from what's your greatest accomplishment to really bizarre things. We try not to ask those too much. But you've got to, I really encourage you to do mock interviews with, whether it's here or with friends, family. So you're actually sitting in front of someone and you're asking them questions, right? And you're not like looking off to the side. You're actually engaging eye contact. And you're getting used to the question. So how would you answer the question? What kind of environment is your ideal environment, and why is that? Yeah, what if you were sitting across the table from me and I asked you that question? What would you say?
I would say that my ideal work environment would be to work with people, to be able to have some independence, but at the same time be able to collaborate with others to accomplish a bigger picture. Not something where you said not just locked away, but part of a bigger team and part of a whole.
Right.
I think for everyone here, it's going to be collaboration and actually seeing the results of your input. Because I work for a civilian nonprofit organization right now. I work for Rockland Healthcare, and
right.
Being able to see your contribution and how it matters to the organization, to the public, your perspective, buyers or who you service really has a meaningful impact, truly on your job and your job satisfaction.
That's great. So that's a good answer. That's a good answer.
I'd say mine would be, I don't want to be locked down into one job title or, job position. I want to be able to branch out into different aspects. So if I'm working like a help desk or something, I don't want to just do help desk. I want to do some network engineering if I get a chance to, do some on-the-job training type of deal. So my environment would be not just you sit in this chair and don't ever leave.
Yeah.
So.
Right. That's good. Yes, sir?
Mine would be just not dreading waking up the next day to go to work.
You don't want to come in like your first day on the job and say, hey, I want to telecommute. There's some things that have happened in I just go, what are you saying to me right now? Or I need a flex schedule, or, oh, by the way, did I tell you I need 3 weeks off in a month? Did I mention that during the interview? Those are the kind of things, you got to build that trust that Nicole's talking about over time. You want to be very careful that you're, initially during your probation period, because we have a 6-month probation, that you're really demonstrating trust and high quality. I tell my folks, I don't want you to work 12 hours a day, but on the 8 hours that you're here, I want to see you really busting it, and I want to see you communicating and supporting one another and delivering high quality service to the taxpayers. Building better communities, that's what we're all about, right? Because we're serving the public. We're serving the public. So let me describe our organization a little bit. So I've worked for federal government, for the Navy. I was a civilian engineer. I was on the Trident program for a while. And then I went into private industry for a while in application development. And then I worked 20 years at the Department of Licensing, first as a contractor and then as a permanent employee. And then I rose to be CIO for the last 8 years there. So we did things like tabs online, driver's license online, a lot of innovative stuff, right? And using technology to do that, right? So I've had the, I don't know if it's a fortunate or blessing or a curse, but I've been transforming government organizations my whole career, and King County is no different. Because of that passion of serving our communities and the taxpayers in the best way possible. So if you look at our departments, you know, we have everything from the sheriff. We have 1,400 metro buses that get scheduled every day, and their schedules get wirelessly transmitted to the buses. We have signal so that they can get green lights. We have wireless throughout the county. It tells them when the bus is going to come in. We have some apps, one bus away, that were developed, you know, by college kids.
Students at UW took the database that he has
Right.
from the Department of Transportation, or I don't know what you call it, the
Yeah.
bus service,
Yeah.
the King County service, bus service.
We have an airport, we have a ferry. I mean, it's huge. We have public health clinics where people go that they depend on those clinics. And we have incredibly committed staff throughout the county. We have our courts, our Superior Court, our District Court. We have our wastewater, natural park, and parks. I mean, it's massive, but it's all about serving the citizens, creating that community experience where people want to live in King County. That's what government's all about, right? It's not about us, individuals. We're serving the public and the people that are residents of the county. And technology is playing more and more a part of that, building those communities. Our websites, our mobile apps, right? All that technology is getting more and more embedded in these business operations. So, incredible opportunities, but like I said, we have 40+% of our workforce retiring in the next few years. This is our department. So 4 years ago when I got into King County, every department had their own IT shop. And they had their own ways of doing things. All right? So if you were sitting across from me and I said, what do you think of that? How does that work for you? Every department, right, had their own IT shop, and they were doing it their own way.
Like that.
What's wrong?
Even in one department, there could be any different technology, and it'll be really hard. I mean, it's hard to maintain. Like, what
If
that
it's-
guy leaves, then it's gonna be hard to replace.
Right?
We have different standards for everything.
Yes.
Right. Different standards,
technology, different hardware.
single points of failure, right?
More
Like
financially,
fluidity.
also, it's gonna cost government a lot.
Right. Yeah. So say more about that. So you got a lot of things to say, even though you came to me.
No, in the sense that if you have different departments, I mean, people are thinking different way, and you're actually investing, like, if you could have invested in one technology, if different departments have different bosses and they want to do their own thing,
Yeah.
then actually they are taking out more money. But if there's like if there's a centralized team, then they can actually see how much they're like. So financially also it saves a lot, I think.
And we should have had him.
I know.
No kidding. Yeah.
So the interesting thing about human nature, it's all about control, right? So when we asked, hey, why don't we just pull all this together and share the computing power, the storage, applications? It's like, oh no, you know, we're special, we're unique, right? You don't understand. We like to touch our servers. We have special names for them, and they did. Gandalf was the one that we talked about Monday, right? And it was just, that's the way they were structured for 20+ years, right? And so one of the first things that we did that almost actually cost me my job was we brought all these departments together. And it was painful. It was painful.
That's what I call popsicle-led Titanic.
Yeah.
And we said we're going to go to one data center versus 48.
So how did that impact the performance of that data center?
Well,
It sounds like
we were
something
paying
got
$3 million a year, and we're using 50% of it, yet we had servers all around the county because people wanted that control. These are my servers. I can't touch them if they're down in Tukwila at our data center, even though it's a state-of-the-art data center.
So this is like the server versus machine in the cloud discussion we had, if you remember. Like you can, server is like a puppy, and and a machine in the cloud is like cattle, right? That's how you think about it.
Right. So that was painful enough. But what we also did is we put 7,000 hours and we defined the services that IT provided our customers. Because our customers didn't know what they were paying for. They did know they were paying too much. But they didn't know what they were paying for. So we put 7,000 hours 1 year into developing a service catalog that identifies we have 17 services, we have 8 end user services that our customers order from us, and then IT to IT services support those end user services. We have a rate methodology that's very transparent to our customers. They may not like our rate, but they understand what they're paying for. And they determine how much IT to consume. We don't tell them. So we just finished a budget process, and our customers filled out their order form, and they said, I have 1,200 workstations, devices. Well, each device has a certain amount of money, and that comes with network connectivity, it comes with enterprise licensing, right? So it's $2,000 to $3,000 per device. And they said, you have 1,000 devices, it's going to be this much money. Oh, that's too much. All right, so what's the next thing we say? Well, if that's too much, then reduce your number of devices. Right? I'm not going to give you like a special rate here. And what that's done, it's put the responsibility back on our customer to have a dialogue with us that's not, you're too expensive. It's what services do you need and how much do you need. That determines what you pay for. And if that's too much, then you have to cut back on the quantities in what you're ordering. And it's revolutionized our budgeting process. It's incredible what that's done. But that was painful. Just coming up with our services was painful. What to name the services was painful. But we settled on it, and we should have brought some service catalogs today, but we had some interesting conversations. So some like VMware, some like Hyper-V, some like Macs, some like Dell and Windows, and we had to come together and standardize. What we had in King County was a 30-year-old called PVX or analog, and Centrex lines, right? So we had multiple carriers. Very expensive, very expensive. In fact, we calculated that we had given $250 million over the life of some of these contracts for voice, okay? For voice connectivity. Now we have 13,000 employees, but think about that. And so what I did, because this project was already started, and I said, look, I'm not going, anything that we invest in is going to be for the future. So I said, I'm stopping the project, and we're going to implement a unified communications strategy because that's the future, right? So I had, I don't know how many staff that absolutely went berserk because they didn't know unified communications. They already had their favorite technology that they were proposing, their favorite vendor. And when we said, and we're going to use our enterprise agreement that we have with Microsoft and the licenses we already own, and that's Microsoft Link, then they went ballistic again. That's a terrible technology, it'll never work, it's not mature.
Yeah, it was new. I mean,
last decision you ever make, because that's going to take us down, right? And I'm telling you, you have to, that the leadership that you have, obviously in the military, that courageous leadership, got to bring that into the workforce. you have to be passionate about staying the course, even when you're under attack that, you know, that's the wrong thing. And we had a lot of bumpy roads, but I'll tell you, we also had some people that wanted to sabotage the project. And they're no longer in the organization. And now we have 1 year left. We have incredibly successful deployments. We brought in Microsoft and some other vendors to help us through some really tough spots, but it's going to be a very successful project. It's going to be a technology that's given us standard video conferencing, which we never had, instant messaging, right? Voicemail to email integration, presence. So that's how I know Nicole's working, if she's green.
So that is exactly my patent. The presence detection is my patent.
Wow.
The green, red bubbles that you see wherever Word documents, Excel spreadsheets.
This is the guy that's impressive.
Wow.
That's genius.
Thank you.
Presence is genius.
Thank you.
It's that's right.
You know, let me give you my perspective on government in general and then my experience with King County. So when I come and see here and I see him and I see the county executive and he's walking around with an iPad and says that that is his entire office in his hand and he wants to make King County government the best. And he's not just saying it, he's doing it by inviting vendors, and I'm a vendor at King County. So I go there and I'm seeing how the work is happening. I have not seen how these teams work inside, but the energy that I see in the county organization is pretty much similar to any other technology company that I see. Like I have seen Microsoft, I have seen EMC, I have seen other companies in the Silicon Valley, startups. This organization is different in that they're really meaning to do what they're saying that they're doing. They're actually doing it. This is not just a picture or not just an illustration or marketing to you. This is actually happening. Amazing. And I tweeted about it. That's how he followed me, apparently.
Yeah. You have a plan, right? And everyone in your team has a role in that, I assume. And you have to execute on that. And if you don't execute, bad things happen. Right? So that plan, that understanding of the plan, I can't imagine, I'm not in your world, but I can't imagine how important that is to everyone here. Because if you don't have a plan, what are you doing? Where are you going? And if everyone doesn't understand their role in that plan, and you are starting to execute, what happens? And what happens with chaos?
You miss one of your checkpoints, you miss your due dates, and
right, there you
your
go.
overall project fails.
Yeah. And you know, in your world, lives are at stake, right? That's serious. Well, we have lives at stake too. We're not executing in our public health clinics, in our emergency management, in our sheriff's office. Lives are at stake. Public safety is huge. Our jail. People die in jail all the time. They get in fights. They commit suicide. It's a serious, serious thing. We just had a death the other day. I mean, so you know, public service. You don't think about those things, but if we're not executing, people can die, and the public can be put at risk. And in my world, when was it? 2 weeks ago, we went to perform a firewall change, right? And I was told, oh, it's easy, no problem. We got a rollback plan, and everything, right? Well, it went totally south. Then the rollback plan went south, and we had our network team on the phone with our vendors in Israel. And I got a call on the way to the gym at 4 in the morning going, hey, we got a serious problem here. And I declared a countywide emergency because our network was unavailable. Now think about that. Think about King County and our services without a network. Nothing works. Nothing works. All the systems that are connected to our network in our health clinics, in the sheriff's office, in the sheriff's in patrol cars, and deputies' patrol cars, in our health clinics. The buses couldn't get their schedule. They're driving around running into each other, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's bad. But that shows you the importance of technology in today's world. You just can't have haphazard changes going on with mission critical technology components. So, I mean, that's what I try to infuse into my staff is our jobs are incredibly important. You might not be in the front lines, but what you do matters, right? And we can't have haphazard changes going in to our network or whatever it may be, because we can put our residents and our King County customers at risk. It's serious stuff, but that shows you how important technology is. Now, luckily, we got our network back at about 6:30, but the damage was done. I mean, there was no email, there was no applications wouldn't work. Your network's down, nothing works. Right? So those of you who want to be network engineers, it's great. You know, you got to be disciplined. You gotta architect good networks. You gotta have redundancy, security, huge. So this is we have 4 goals, and these 4 goals have been with us now for many years, and we have projects that are going on or that are planned in each of those goals, right? And so for instance, in service maturity, because we always want to be maturing our service catalog, we're showing things like Office 365. Anybody know what that is?
Yep.
And that's the cloud environment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so each one of them has used their own domain and mounted it on Office 365 as well as Google Apps. So they already have done it.
So if I were to ask you in an interview, and I probably would, what's the advantage of moving to a cloud environment versus building infrastructure and servers on premise in your data center?
Flexibility.
Saves money.
Save money?
Redundancy,
Flexibility.
scalability.
Okay. Good. You taught them well. We're going to invest in open data. You heard of open data? So we have data sets out for the public and they can create apps. They can have a hackathon. They can do whatever they want. We now have all these vendors and all these geniuses like yourselves out there that get together and they develop applications. We don't have to develop them. It's awesome. One bus away is an example of that.
Yep, beautiful example. You can find out.
Our customers are doing the work that traditionally governments had to do. And that's the future as well. So it's incredible the things that they can intertwine the data, that if we make it available, if we truly have open data, we make it available, what they can do with that data. And they're doing it in things that we used to take maybe millions of dollars and years to create. They're doing it over a weekend with their buddies with a 6-pack. Here's our mobile strategy. You can see unified communications, our private cloud, and our cloud environments. Our wireless is big. So that's another thing. You can't be mobile if you don't have a good wireless infrastructure. And we're beefing that up, and we just can't keep up with that because people want to move around, so they just expect that in our facilities that they're going to have wireless. So an example, we have our public wireless, then we have our King County wireless network. In our public wireless, things like in our elections office, during an election, huge lines, right? Well, we didn't have any wireless there. We put wireless in. We put some apps in so they could do some free work. And now they're standing in line, but they're wireless, they're doing the work, and it's a huge improvement. Now we don't have as many grumpy people. You know, they're playing games or doing whatever. But we provided them just simply with wireless. And there was some free work that was done. And in King County, those lines during the election are tremendous. So another is in our courtrooms. People come in, whether they're jurors or others, and they're on their phones. So we don't have enough wireless bandwidth in our courtrooms. They're tweeting, whatever. And so we've had to beef that up, but that's a big component. All of these components are tied to our mobility strategy. Oh, okay. We talked a little bit about this, open government, putting more things online. Go to the next one. I'm going to wrap up here pretty soon. I wanted to talk about this because this really ties it all together with our cloud strategy. So once we consolidated, we actually consolidated more to a private cloud environment. We have a contract now with Amazon for infrastructure as a service. Okay. We also are using our cloud as our alternate data center disaster recovery solution. So in the past, what we used to have to do is go over east of the mountains to Quincy or someplace and say, okay, we're going to build out another data center, and that's going to be our secondary data center. Lots of millions of dollars. Amazon already has data centers all over the country, right? So why are we going out building a disaster recovery data center when we can just put things in the cloud, tell Amazon to make it redundant in this region, and it's redundant, right? So that saved a tremendous amount of money. And then software as a service. So we have our prosecuting attorney case management system and our public health electronic record system that are SaaS applications now. And also a permitting system. So that's growing and growing. And then I mentioned CRM and Office 365, which I think is platform as a service, right? Software as a service, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, private cloud in our data center. Talk about options our customers have. We have prices for each of these environments within our service, so the SSD service, storage, server, and data. And we want to get to the point where our customers don't know where their service is running. That's the choice we make based on the type of architecture that their service is. So they could be running from the Amazon cloud, but they don't care and they shouldn't care, right? They could be running from our data center. But that's not something they have to worry about because we take care of that for them. If they need to scale, then we might put them in the, like elections, right? Election night, boom. That's a great cloud application. We put our websites out there, or our elections. So if you're just running along normal and then you have spikes, that's a great cloud application. It scales, the architecture scales. So that's important for us, but this is another strategy. It's visual, but I can tell my staff, hey, we're moving to SaaS and we're moving our applications out here. We're not moving them here. And we're moving our servers here. But they're not our servers anymore because we're putting services on there in Amazon. And we're going to, if it needs to be redundant, we're going to use a region in Amazon, which means this is shrinking, which means we're going to lease out our space to other governments at a reasonable cost. So that's what strategy does for you. It starts to really, and then all of our staff know where they fit in, what skill sets they need to have, so we have development plans for them, and they can get excited about this because these are marketable skills, right? So I've said enough. Thank you for having me. If you have any more questions.
Yeah, totally. Do you have opportunities for internships?
Yes, in fact, I just had a meeting today about that. Yes.
And then what about for people that don't have, the training you talked maybe a little bit about that earlier, but don't have certain certificates or stuff like that you all would want? You saw the potential in that person, would you send them to
Absolutely.
those courses?
Yeah. Yep. Remember, I already said it's potential, soft skills, and you might have you have to like technology or have an aptitude, but it's not the overriding factor. So we have mentorships available for any of you that would like a mentor in King County. maybe you could send me the
Yep,
names?
I will provide access, and in fact, I'm proposing that we provide these, names of these people who are interested in getting a mentor in your organization, and having that opportunity to get mentored by a senior officer in his team is just amazing. Take it on, and totally, go buy coffee, buy them coffee, just sit with them 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever times they have. Learn from them. What would it take to get what you want? And what you may want is what you need to express, and help them understand. They'll help you. That's what mentoring is all about. So take the opportunity. He's offering that, and it is rare. The mentoring is rare and hard to come by from real senior officers. So thank you very much for that.
And I'll even commit to one of you taking one of you on as well. So
thank you.
Yeah, as long as Nicole lets me know. We'll ask her. Yeah. So good luck to you all. It was a pleasure and an honor to be here. And like I said, and I was serious. Our executive sends his best, and thanks you for your service to our country. And we really, really want to invest in your future and help you out as best we can. So thanks for letting me come.
It is an honor to have you here, and appreciate you coming. Thank you very much.